At least 2 people were killed after a magnitude 7.4 earthquake struck off Davao Oriental on Friday, October 10, triggering regional tsunami warnings that were later lifted. Davao Oriental's 2nd District Representative Chino Miguel Almario says 2 fatalities were recorded. According to Almario, 1 fatality is an elderly person who was confined at a hospital in Davao Oriental and suffered a cardiac arrest during the quake. OCD Regional Director Ednar Dayanghirang earlier said that an individual was killed after being struck by falling hollow blocks in the mountain village of Kalapagan in Lupon town of Davao Oriental. PHIVOLCS initially measured the quake at magnitude 7.6 and later downgraded it to 7.4. The tremor struck 48 kilometers northeast of Manay, Davao Oriental at 9:43 a.m. on Friday. As of 5 p.m. on Tuesday, PHIVOLCS recorded 339 aftershocks from the quake, with magnitudes ranging from magnitude 1.2 to magnitude 5.8. The International Criminal Court Pre-Trial Chamber 1 rejects former President Rodrigo Duterte's appeal for interim release. In a filing published on Friday, October 10, the Chamber says Duterte's detention remains necessary based on requirements set by the Rome Statute. According to the Chamber, the Rome Statute states that a suspect applying for interim release pending trial shall be released if conditions in Article 58, Paragraph 1 are not satisfied. Citing Article 58, the Chamber says it is required to assess whether there are reasonable grounds to believe that the suspect committed a crime falling within the court's jurisdiction. The Chamber notes that Duterte's team has not contested this point. Because of this, the court says there are still reasonable grounds to believe Duterte is responsible for crimes against humanity of murder committed in the Philippines. According to the ICC, Duterte's detention is required to ensure his appearance in the proceedings. It is also necessary so that he does not obstruct or endanger the investigation and proceedings. The court also believes his continued detention will prevent the commission of related crimes within its jurisdiction. On June 12, Duterte's counsel appealed for the former president's urgent interim release. The defense said an undisclosed government had expressed advance and principled agreement to receive him. The ICC currently has custody of Duterte for crimes against humanity he allegedly committed during his administration's bloody war against drugs. Public Works Secretary Vince Dizon announces an indefinite suspension of road reblocking nationwide due to allegations of corruption. At a press conference on Friday, October 10, Dizon says he will issue a new department order regarding road reblocking.
Effectively now, I will be suspending all reblocking activities. No? Pinapasuspend ko and gagawa ako ng bagong department order on reblocking. Ito talaga, kinakagalit to ng lahat ng mga kababayan natin at naririnig ko na to, elementary pa lang ako. Bakit ba merong mga kalye na maayos naman na tinitibag, sinisira, tapos gagawin ulit? Hindi ba? Di ba usong-uso yan? Dekada na natin naririnig yan, di ba?
He says the suspension follows reports of road reblocking projects being carried out despite the absence of actual issues. He cites projects in Bukawi, Bulacan and Tuguegarao City. Dizon alleges that these projects may have been undertaken to secure kickbacks.
Bakit ba ang DPWH binabakbak ang mga kalye na parang okay naman para lang gawin ulit? Diba? Well, siguro sa maraming pagkakataon, alam na natin kung bakit. Diba? Okay. Kasi pinagkakakitaan lang yun. Pinagkakakitaan yung pagsisira, pinagkakakitaan din yung paggagawa ulit.
However, Dizon clarifies that the suspension does not affect maintenance work on roads that are already damaged. According to Dizon, the forthcoming department order on road reblocking will be more clear and transparent, ensuring that such projects are properly justified. The Senate adjourns its session on Friday, October 10 without addressing any leadership changes. Less than 10 minutes after it convened at 10 a.m., the chamber immediately adjourns. Only Senate President Tito Sotto, Senate Deputy Majority Leader J.V. Ejercito, and Senator Robin Hood Padilla were present when the chamber recessed for the Undas break. The Senate session is scheduled to resume on November 10. During the brief plenary, the chamber only grants its consent to a resolution from the House of Representatives. The House requested to extend its session until Monday, October 13, to allow the approval of the 2026 budget on second and third reading.
The Senate of the Philippines hereby consents to the convening of the House of Representatives in plenary session on October 13, 2025, or 3 days after the Senate adjourns today, October 10, 2025, for the consideration and approval of the General Appropriations Bill for 2026 on third and final reading. So approved.
Meanwhile, no discussions on a leadership change were raised during the session. Addressing his colleagues on the Senate floor, Sotto denounces what he described as concerted efforts and propaganda aimed at discrediting him in the Senate leadership. He cites the supposed coordinated circulation of fake news regarding new tax measures he allegedly proposed.
In my 24 years in the Senate, I have never proposed for any additional tax measures. In fact, I have consistently voted against it. So for the peddlers of fake news, ipagdadasal ko na lang kayo. Sa ating mga kababayan, huwag kayong basta maniniwala, lalo na pag masama ang balita.
Earlier, rumors of an alleged move to unseat Sotto circulated in the Senate, but the Senate chief himself denied them. Senate Minority Leader Alan Peter Cayetano also denied plotting an ouster against Sotto. Cayetano said the speculation about a possible leadership change might have originated from supporters of both the majority and minority blocs. Ombudsman Remulla says a memorandum lifting the restrictions on access to Statement of Assets, Liabilities, and Net Worth or SALNs will be issued next week. In a press briefing on Friday, October 10, Remulla says his office aims to release the document by Wednesday, October 15.
Inahanda lang namin yung mechanics. But next week, baka pwede na. Baka we start releasing this already. As early as next week. I will ask them to make available this information. But of course, we need requesting parties to ask for the information. Huwag naman blanket. Baka naman yung sabi yung buong file, mahirap yan, di ba? Hindi naman tama. Tsaka baka ma-weaponize ang kailangan dyan na may undertaking tayo pag kumukuha tayo. Para ng public interest pa rin.
He adds that the Ombudsman will soon open its doors to the public to make it a true grievance platform.
I want to open this office to the public kasi dapat ito sumbukan ng bayan eh.
Remulla says the office plans to crowdsource information for lifestyle checks and complaints. He notes that investigations will no longer rely solely on fact-finding teams, but will also gather input directly from citizens through an open communication line. This reiterates his earlier pronouncement that his office will use crowdsourcing of information about individuals who should be investigated in public. Access to SALNs was restricted during the tenure of Ombudsman Samuel Martires through Memorandum Circular No. 1, Series of 2020. The memorandum requires anyone requesting access to a SALN to present a notarized letter of authority from the declarant. It effectively bars the public and the media from obtaining copies unless allowed by the official concerned.